Good morning. Today we're going to discuss how to submit an accelerated promotion for officers. So the first thing you want to do to get that process started is log into MyVector. And a good note for how to utilize MyVector, we recommend you use Edge, and you'll always want to adjust your screen size, especially if you're working on a laptop. Sometimes if you don't have your screen size adjusted, you're not going to be able to see all the functionalities within the web page. So we recommend you adjust to at least 67% by clicking these 3 horizontal dots over here in the top right-hand corner. And if you're in Chrome, it's going to be 3 vertical dots if you happen to be working off the military network. And then again, you're just adjusting that screen size to about 67%. Sometimes you have to go a little smaller depending on your laptop. All officer reserve promotion issues are available in MyVector. They're not going to be in MyFSS. Any type of action requirement is going to be initiated in MyVector. So once you're logged into MyVector, anytime you need to do anything with a reserve officer promotion, you're going to come over here to ARPC officer promotions. And then you can see you have lots of options here. For an accelerated promotion, you're going to choose PBE accelerated promotion request. Yours may say submit. If you've submitted more than one application, it'll say submit another application, but you're pressing this button right here to get started. Once you're in the application, you're just going to fill it out. Promotion candidate would be the name of your member. So you'll search. Be very careful if your member has a common name like John Smith. You just want to make sure that you're choosing the right member so that we have the information on our side to pull the correct CERF PCARS reports. Again, if you have someone with a very common name, just make sure that their DoD ID number matches who they actually are. Candidate current rank is the rank that they are right now. Candidate current date of rank, you can pull this from the officer's CDB. And then accelerated promotion to the Air Force Reserve. Is the member requesting the accelerated promotion a member of the reserve? If you are doing this application for a member in the Guard, you're not going to be successful. Members who are serving in the Air National Guard will actually be submitting their application to NGB A1PO. So do not use this application if your member is a member of the Guard. Promotion board ID is very straightforward. That's going to be the board that they met. Typically, if they met a mandatory board, that's going to be the first alpha. The first part of the code will be a V, as in Victor. And then the next part will be the rank that they were promoting to. So this would have been a lieutenant colonel board. So it would have been Victor 05. The next 2 digits are actually the year. So if you met in 24, it would be 24. And then it's always going to be an A for reserve boards. If your board ID was a U, then you wouldn't use this application. That would indicate you met a position vacancy board, and those who are selected on a position vacancy board are not eligible for accelerated promotions. So should always be V. Then again, these two would be 04 or 05, depending on if they met a major's lieutenant colonel, or an 06 board would be 06 or 06. The next 2 digits are just the year that you met the board in, so 24. 25, and then the last would indicate if it was the first or second iteration of the board. In the Air Force Reserve, we only have 1 iteration, so it's always an A. You would only see those change on active duty or the NGB side. So pretty straightforward. And if you don't know the board ID, you can just simply type out Lieutenant Colonel board or 24 or some such. Just enough information here that we can easily find your release message and screen grab your name. Board date, best guess. If you knew your board happened in August, you can put August 1st. If you actually know the board date from the convening notice or the release message, go ahead and put that here. Again, this information is just to help the PBE team locate your release message so they can easily confirm you were scrolled. Projected rank, of course, is going to be the rank you're promoting to. Your original projected date of rank. If you are promoting to the rank of major, it will be 7 years time and grade, 1 October, or SecDef approval, whichever is later. And you can confirm that information in paragraph 4A, that's 4 alpha, in your release message for your board. Do not put 08 August 3888. If you have that as a projected rank on the release message, that means you were an AGR at the time of selection, and that's just an infinity date for us. It's a placeholder. That's not your projected date of rank. Do not put that. Actually calculate out what your projected date of rank would be based on the information found in paragraph 4 alpha of your release message. And if you're not an AGR, it's actually going to be by your name and the release message. For our lieutenant colonels, The projected date of rank will typically be 7 years time and grade or SecDef approval, whichever is the later date. And then the new requested date of rank, that's pretty straightforward as well. That's going to be what date you're requesting. Please remember that we must receive this application 2 days before whatever date you put right here. Receipt means that your rater and senior rater have both approved the application to advance it on. If your senior rater and rater have not approved this application, PBE cannot see it and it is not considered received. So just be very careful that you're giving your rater and senior rater enough time to approve it based on the date that you're requesting. If we don't receive it within 2 days of the requested date of rank and you are not within the grace period, then you will be given a date that is 5 business days from the date of receipt. Once in the application, search for the name of your candidate and then go ahead and fill out the rest of the information. This member's current rank is captain. You're going to want to put their current date of rank, their current MAGCOM, which typically should be AFRIC if you're working through MyVector for a reserve officer promotion, and the promotion board ID that they were accepted on. If you don't know the date that the board convenes, just give it your best guess. Projected rank is the rank that they're promoting to. This is what they would have promoted on had they promoted within normal channels. Typically for promotions to major and to lieutenant colonel, that's going to be 7 years time and grade, or whatever you find in paragraph 4A on the release message for their board. So for this member, she would have promoted on October 1st, 2025. You should only be using this application if you're requesting that your member is going to promote earlier than their original projected date of rank from their original release message for the board that they met. And this is where you're going to put the date that you're requesting they be promoted to. Comments and justifications are more for your rater and senior rater. And then we do ask that you verify that they meet the requirements for an accelerated promotion. Those would be they cannot be an overage, they must be performing in a higher graded billet, they had to have had a good R&R year the year prior, and you'll want to check any additional requirements in AFI 362504, and it's actually now Chapter 4 and Chapter 7. Those requirements are the same as the position vacancy requirements. Attaching your UPMER is optional. We do request that you attach a copy of it just to confirm that the member is the incumbent in your position. And then the final part to this application is going to be coming over here to the timeline. This is where you're going to choose your commander rater and your senior rater. Now, it's very important that you notify the rater and senior rater that they may have an application waiting for them to approve. And for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to put myself in for both, but you would choose the members rater and senior rater. I also want to let you know that this application will not be visible to PBE until this senior rater concurs on it, and that senior rater can only concur after this unit commander rater concurs. Once you've got all of this filled out, you're going to go ahead and hit Submit Form. If your unit requires specific documents such as fitness reports or the last 3 OPBs, you can upload those here. And that is it for how you submit an application. Now, to know that your application went through, you'll be taken back to this page. And if you've been given an MV or MyVector number, such as this one here, your application has been successfully submitted and is routing. You can withdraw this form at any time if you find out the FSS submitted something else for you, or if you've been promoted through another route, you would just click this withdrawal form and the application will be withdrawn from your rater and senior rater. To check statuses of an application that you have currently processing, go back to the home page, click My Applications. Here is the application that I just submitted. You can see it under Application History. I can click on it and view it, and it will tell me where it's at. It says it was submitted and it was routed to the rater just here. And you'll see routed to. And when it says routed to, it'll tell you who it's with.